Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Check the pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by X Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. Well, first off, my apologies. Got off that Monday, Thursday schedule for this week with 6 kids. Got a little crazy around my house, so this will be the only Carriker Chronicles show this week, barring major Husker news. But back next week, we'll be back to that Monday, Thursday schedule. Real quick, I did exchange some textuals with head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, Zach Taylor. I could tell he was overwhelmed. I could tell he had a lot going on. Shocker, right? I could also tell he was trying to work it out with me, and I kind of felt bad. I was like, dude, don't worry about the interview. Go win a Super Bowl championship. We'll reconvene at a later date. He usually comes on once or twice a year anyways, so I'll be rooting for Zach on Sunday. If you're not, boo to you. All right, let's see what else we got. The Offensive Lineman Show, where I'm going to break down the fundamentals and techniques, all right, from a D lineman's perspective. And I have coached offensive linemen all the way up through high school a little bit as well. I'm going to do that at some point in the near future. We got a lot to talk about with the Super Bowl and reactions and Husker news, so it's going to come out, but give me a week or two to get to that. But today's show topic, fine folks at home, ladies and gentlemen, good people of Husker Nation across planet Earth, is going to be about the top 5. Well, I asked if you wanted it. You responded, said you wanted it, so here it is. The top 5 transfers that could potentially make an immediate impact for Nebraska this fall. Now, Nebraska's most recent recruiting class, they brought in 28 total players, 15 of them from high school, 3 JUCOs, 10 transfers, and a partridge in a pear tree. But of those transfers, 6 were on offense, 2 were on defense, only 2 on defense, and 2 were on special teams. Now, those 6 on offense were 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, 2 offensive linemen. On defense, there were 2 DBs, and the specialists are a punter and a kicker. Thank God. Praise the Lord for that. But no particular order here. Let's start with the pretty boys at quarterback. I used to be one in high school, so I can say that. Let's talk about Casey Thompson, 6'1", 200 pounds, junior, a 4-star coming out of high school. You could mention Chuba Purdy here if he beats out Casey Thompson this offseason. We've also got other quarterbacks in that room as well, but this is a transfer show. So I'm going to talk about Casey because he's got the most experience. At this point, the favorite. Okay, at this point, probably has the edge, but we'll see how this thing plays out. Who earns the job come the fall? He has started 10 games last year for Texas, horns down. He had 388 passing yards and 5 touchdowns versus Oklahoma. If you watch that Red River shootout, it was a basketball game with pads on. There was no defense anywhere to be seen. He did lead the Big 12 in touchdowns with 24, and he completed 63% of his passes. He did have 9 interceptions. But to his credit, he showed great toughness a year ago playing through a thumb injury on his throwing hand. If you've ever tried to throw with an injury on your throwing hand, that can be quite challenging, okay? And he looks pretty jacked right now. If you've seen the pictures that they've posted online throughout these Husker workouts, sometimes I'm a fan of these videos, sometimes I'm not. But if you just look at the picture of him, he's clearly been busting his butt in the weight room, showing great leadership already. Arriving on campus immediately, took the O-line out to dinner, trying to set the tone, trying to be a leader. Man, NIL must be nice. Message sent to the other quarterbacks in that quarterback room as well. I get the feeling he's extremely motivated after he left Texas. Quentin Ears, one of the highest rated prospects to come out in a long time, went to Ohio State, transferred to Texas. Boom, Casey Thompson leaves, comes to Nebraska. I think he's uber motivated. Now, the next guy on this list, okay, no particular order, not ranking 1 through 5, just the next guy I'm going to talk about, technically isn't a transfer. He's technically a junior college guy, okay, but Anthony Grant. But he started at FSU, went to JUCO, now to Nebraska. Feels like a transfer to me. Plus, it's my show, and I'll kind of do what I want. And I just wanted to talk about him. All right, Anthony Grant, who's a running back, 5'11", 210 pounds, a junior, another 4-star coming out of high school. Started his career, as I mentioned, at Florida State. Played in every game as a true freshman and was their top kick returner as well. Now, in the junior college ranks, he did some impressive things. He was a junior college player of the year, the number 1 JUCO running back in the country, helped lead his team to a junior college national championship. I've watched film of this guy, and I've mentioned this before, and I'll probably mention it again. He can run you over. I've watched him send defenders flying backwards multiple times, and he can run by you. Great speed, great strength combination. He's obviously going to be competing for the starting job at running back. He has the potential, if he earns it, to finally be a Divino Zigbo, Amir Abdullah. In other words, I'm not saying he's going to put up 1,000,000 yards, although he might, to finally be the guy we can say he's our clear-cut number 1 running back. Let's see how that plays out. because hopefully this turns out better than the last time we had the number one junior college running back in the country come play for the Huskers. Next up is Brian Buschini, sophomore, transfer from Montana. I've interviewed him. If you haven't heard this interview, go back and check it out. You're going to like him. I think Husker fans particularly are going to like him. Check out that interview. He was an FCS All-American and punter of the year. He averaged 46 yards per punt. He helped Montana lead the nation in net punting, and he pinned the opponents, Montana's opponents, inside their own 20-yard line 43% of the time a year ago. Okay, he punted the ball. Listen to this. He punted the ball 50 yards or more 84% of the time. I could argue, based on how atrocious our special teams have been, I could argue he's the most important transfer addition this offseason for Nebraska. All right, let me turn the page on my notes here. I don't have my cool sunglasses on today. All right, if you missed that, check out my previous show. All right, next up is Either, because these guys are both going to be competing for starting jobs. They're both offensive linemen. I don't know if either's going to win a job. Both are going to win a starting job. I don't know if they're going to alternate, or one wins a job, one doesn't. So it's either Hunter Anthony or Kevin Williams Jr., depending on how the offseason offensive line battle plays out. Okay, Hunter Anthony, 6'6", 325. Kevin Williams Jr., 6'5", 330 pounds. They both have 2 years of eligibility left to play. Both can play guard and tackle. Kevin's probably more of a guard. Hunter's probably more of a tackle, but we'll see how that shakes out as well. Okay, they both have starting experience under their belt. All right, Anthony, probably tougher competition where he played at Oklahoma State. That being said, Williams has more career starts under his belt at Northern Colorado, where he played with 17 career starts. He's also a graduate of Omaha North High School, Now, he could be, they could be number one on this list because everything starts up front, and we know that. They're both competing for starting jobs. Okay, who knows who's going to win? Both, neither. Who knows where they're going to be, guard or tackle. This will be fun to watch. But these guys have to be included on this list. And I put them together because we don't know how that's going to shake out in the offensive line battle. Next up, everything starts up front. Everything. All right. Those guys are very, very important. Trey Palmer, next on this list. And I'm going to give you a couple bonuses, a couple honorable mentions after I get done talking about Trey. Trey, 6'1", 190 pounds, junior, 5-star, coming out of high school. Number 2 wide receiver in the entire country. Number 20 overall prospect coming out of high school where he went to LSU. Great speed. Won the 100-meter state championship in the state of Louisiana where he went to high school with a time of 10.42. He also won 4 straight 200-meter state championships. That's insane. That means he won it as like a 15-year-old, okay? Last year at LSU, he played 389 snaps and caught 30 passes for 344 yards and 3 touchdowns. All right, he can make an immediate, regardless of what he does as a wide receiver, an immediate impact in our woeful return game. Punt return, kick return. I will admit he's a better kick returner than he is punt return. Okay, he only averaged about 8 yards per punt return, but he has returned a punt return for a touchdown as well as a kick return for a touchdown. And he's also, his career, he's averaged 26 yards per kickoff return. Okay, now this is a guy who could arguably be the most physically talented player now that he's on the team here at the University of Nebraska. Imagine these 3 starting wide receivers potentially. Omar Manning, Xavier Betts, Trey Palmer. Size, speed, athleticism, that could be crazy. They're also not only insanely athletic, fast, talented, yada, yada, they're also very unproven, if we're being honest, okay? None of them have been proven yet. Can Mickey Joseph help all 3, well, at least 1, 2, hopefully all 3 start to finally reach their potential? I should mention that Anthony Grant could be a potential punt and kick returner for the Huskers as well. Here's a couple of honorable mentions. Okay, up until this point, I hadn't had a defensive guy. That dawned on me while I was making this list. I was like, holy crap. There's only 2 defensive guys, as I mentioned earlier, to begin with. Let's go to Tommy Hill. Honorable mention here. 6 foot, 205 pound sophomore, 4-star coming out of high school. He transferred from Arizona State. Didn't start a game last year. Only player on this list who has not started at his previous college, which is why he's an honorable mention. Again, the only defensive player that I'm mentioning here. Now, he was expected to start at Arizona State before he transferred to Nebraska. Absolutely going to compete for a starting job here. We need someone to step up. We got Cam Taylor-Britt who's gone, Deontay Williams are gone. With all these multiple players leaving in the secondary, somebody's got to step up and fill those roles. And Tommy could fill in where Cam Taylor-Britt was a year ago, especially at corner. Next honorable mention is Timmy Bleekrud, a kicker with a couple years of eligibility left. He was 15 of 18 on field goals a year ago where he played at Furman. Hear this stat. From 30 to 49 yards, Nebraska was 3 of 9 last year. That's 33%. That's not good. He has a 51-yard make under his belt. He has admitted he doesn't have the strongest leg in the world. It's probably the only reason he's not the clear-cut favorite right now. He's going to have to earn it. But if he can make an extra point in 30 to 49-yard range, that's all Husker fans really care about. This is obviously important. Frost called him only 30 minutes after he entered the transfer portal. So he has to be the favorite, but he's not going to step on campus being the clear-cut guy like Brian Buschini is expected to be at the punter. So that's the only reason he's on this honorable mention list, but he is obviously going to be uber important to the Huskers' success going forward in that field goal kicking competition. Do me a favor, give this video a like. Okay, it helps get the word out. I'm chatting about doing some different things with the Omaha World-Herald, some exciting things, maybe things people will like, don't like, I don't know. We're trying to figure out what to do, where to take this, so help get the word out about this show. It always helps. It helps me. It helps the show. Hopefully Husker football as well, because that is the priority. And leave a comment. Do you disagree with anything I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? Do you agree? Is there somebody I left off the list? As always, this is the People's Show. Let me know your thoughts. Go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw the bug.